Hey everybody, it's Femtrooper, and today we're going to be talking about Persona 4 Golden for the PlayStation Vita. Persona 4 Golden, amazing game. People hold it very highly. It's one of the best JRPGs of all time. Some people hold it as the best game of all time. So we're going to talk about that with how I felt about the game, because I was 50-50 on a lot of elements. Some things I thought were done like, wow, amazing. This is exactly what I wanted. Finally, just as a hint, I really like the modern day setting. It's in a modern day setting. Love it. And then other aspects of the game I didn't really like. So we're going to talk about that. So it was a 50-50 for me. Some parts I like, some parts I actually really didn't like. So let's talk about it. The story in Persona 4 is really, really cool. I loved it. It's a bunch of teenagers, really like that. I love games, JRPGs with either kids or teenage characters. Again, I think that's just because I'm nostalgic for childhood, and so I like Earthbound so much. It's kids. I think it's just kind of neat when kids can save the world instead of adults. I really like that concept. Anyway. So it's a bunch of murders are taking place in a small town. You're new to the town, you're from the big city, and all these murders are happening in this small town as soon as you arrive, and then you meet all these friends there, because you're the new guy, and you start to want to figure out what's going on, and soon you realize that there's actually a connection with the murders that are happening in this small town, because they're like really obscure deaths, and the police can't figure out if they're like, is it a suicide? Is it a homicide? Like, no one can actually figure out how these people are dying. And so you're like, you kind of figure out that there's a connection between the murders and this thing called the Midnight Channel. And it's kind of almost like a prediction between, you can see a character show up at midnight on the TV, and you can see them, and then a lot of the dungeons in this game, as far as the gameplay aspect go, is you'll see someone appear on the TV, and then you'll have to go inside the TV, save that person, and then they won't die. But you can kind of see like a foreshadowing of who's going to die if you don't do it in time, if you don't save them in time. Really fun. I kind of like the murder mystery aspect with a bunch of kids, and they're figuring out the town, and as the new kid, you're staying with your uncle, and he happens to be like the police chief, so there's that aspect. I know that's a little cliche. There are a ton of cliches in this game, and tropes and stuff, but whatever. They're really done. They're done very well. So essentially it's a murder mystery game, JRPG, modern day setting. I really like that. I love the modern day setting. I loved the story. I was really excited to see exactly what was going to happen. There'd be all these twists they'd throw at you, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? And you'd meet so many characters and to add to your party during the game. Really like that. One thing I did not like is this game is kind of on a calendar system, so you basically play day by day. Literally, you go to bed, you can decide if you want to read before you go to bed, you can decide if you want to go to a restaurant, hang out with your friends, go biking with your friends, you can decide to study all night, you can decide to study for like a week, or you can just decide to hang out with your friends. If you want to hang out with somebody after school, or would you rather read a book after school? Like, there's so many decisions you can make, and what's cool about that is you get to know the characters. That's one of the best aspects of this game is the character development. You know these characters so well. You know everything about them. They are amazing. I loved all the characters. My favorite character was Kanji. That guy was awesome, hilarious. There's so much humor. But what I didn't like about the filler was exactly that. Way too much filler. And some people will argue, hey, the whole point of that is to get to know these characters, and yeah, that's true, and I would, get to know all the characters, and that's a huge part of, like, leveling up in the game and building different aspects to help you with all sorts of, making your intelligence go up, making your confidence go up, making your diligence go up. By doing certain things, you can make those aspects go up, and it changes the battle system, blah, blah, blah. I found that to be a little tedious, and I really sort of got bored of the filler a lot of times. When you're spending 40, 50 hours on a game, some people spend 60, 80 hours on this game. I'm sorry, I really don't want to just read a book before I go to bed. I don't want to play a video game when reading a book. It's like, okay, what should I do today? Well, I can go to drama, or I can go to band, or I can hang out with my friend, or there's actually two friends that want to hang out with me. I should hang out with this friend because if I hang out with this friend, it's going to raise this skill. It's like, I don't know. I'm sorry. Like after a while, it was like, okay, I like the characters. I get to know them. But half the time, I was finding I was just reading books before I go to bed and doing all these things, and I thought, yeah, I don't know if that's for me. So that was a little boring. Oh, I'm just being honest. That part of the game wasn't for me, the sim kind of part of it, and that's a huge part of the game. So if you're really not into that, you may actually be turned off by this game because although the story is fantastic, there's a whole lot of filler stuff where, for example, this is not accurate to the game, just trying to give an example, but say it's, I don't know, June 1st in the game, and the next dungeon, or next, area where you actually go to do the JRPG stuff, might not be till, like, say, June 24th or something. So you have to go for, like, 23 days just kind of doing stuff. And I found that to be really annoying. And there's the odd thing that happens, but half the time you're like, should I spend time with Chie today, or should I spend time with Yukiko? And it's like, I don't know, I kind of just want to get the story moving, and things weren't really happening. You're just kind of getting to know the characters. And I realize that's part of the game, that is the whole point, but that was not for me. So that's a huge part of it, just as a heads up, I guess, or a warning. But that's a huge part of the game. I really liked how this game was so bright and colorful, and anime-esque, but then very, very, had very dark undertones. So many things where you're like, whoa, they went there. And I know Japanese things, whether it's a game or a cartoon or whatever, they really, they get dark sometimes, even though on the outside it's super light. Like, someone might look at a game like Danganronpa and be like, wow, that game looks like it's for 5-year-olds. Until you play it and you're like, whoa, this is incredibly violent and horrible. So, yeah, it's kind of like that. I really like the concept of everybody kind of having a dark side of themselves, like another side. It's true, everybody does have, maybe things they don't want other people to know, or thoughts about people they don't want them to know, or whatever, or just, aspects of their life that they keep to themselves, and then it's exposed, and then they kind of have to deal with it, and then they embrace it, and then turn that around, and then you use that actually as the battle system. So basically each character gets their persona, and then they can unleash it and use it in battle. It's kind of like summoning to some extent, but you're using that persona for your powers. Like, some might be more like water element, some might be more like lightning element, whatever. But it's that kind of concept, but I really thought that was interesting. So each one of these characters you have in your party, you'd find out what their dark side is, and they would have to come face to face with their persona, who's this other half, and they'd say, no, that's not me at all. And then, boss battle. But really, that's basically what it is. You're finding out all these dark things about these characters, and it was really interesting, because I was, kind of curious to see, okay, what about this character did they not want to know? If you're going, what the hell are you talking about? I'll give you an example. Say somebody on the outside is really tough and masculine, and they show that kind of persona where they're like tough guy, like motorcycles and all this stuff, and they're, extreme masculinity, but deep down inside they like a lot of feminine things, and they don't want to feel emasculated. So there's this side of them that they're pushing away that they don't want others to see, but it gets exposed, in the TV world. So, yeah, really kind of different concept, and I really like that aspect of the story. It was just really unique, and I'd never seen that in a game as far as sort of wacky hijinks, but I really like that because it really, really added to this. We're going to get to the gameplay. It is my least favorite aspect of this game. I know it's a JRPG, and I should be loving the gameplay, but I did not. I don't like the persona thing. I really don't. And so many people are like, oh, you love Pokemon. You'll love this because you can collect personas. You fuse them to create new powers and all this stuff. I don't care. I don't like that at all. It was kind of like in Ni no Kuni when you could collect all the familiars or whatever. I believe that's what they were called in that. Whatever. Anyway, I hated it. I just stuck with like the first ones I got. I did not like that aspect. And yes, I do like Pokemon. The difference is the whole point of that game is kind of to do that. And I also don't collect all the Pokemon, so that's the other thing. I kind of say, these are my 6. I'm going for it because I like to have different ones. I don't want to have 3. Like, it's not for me. This game kind of involved that, where you collect these cards or personas. You can, fuse them together to... I just didn't like it. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not an SMT person. I don't know. That made me frustrated all the time. And the good thing is that this game, or at least the Vita version, I'm not sure about the PlayStation 2 version, but I think there's 4 difficulty settings. And yeah, I don't care right now. I'm going to admit, I played on the easiest setting. I did that because I wanted to play it purely as a visual novel. You can kind of do that, where I'll just be honest, there's 0 challenge in the dungeons. Sorry, I just kind of thought, I don't want to spend all my time dealing with a battle system I really don't like when I really do like the story. So yeah, I played it that way. I don't really care. I'm not ashamed of it. Who cares? Because that's just the way I chose to play it. There are games that don't have difficulty settings, and I roll with it, whatever. But this did, and I just thought, I cannot be bothered because I don't like the battle system. If it was a different battle system, different story perhaps. I did not. It's not for me. If you don't like the aspect of collecting stuff, fusing them together, you may not like this. Some people like completely eat it all up. They love it. They love the whole fusing thing. Yeah, not for me. I really like the old school battle system, where you kind of have different characters who have different things. So you have like a mage, or you have like somebody who is really like does physical attacks. Maybe you have a white mage and they're a healer. I know that's really old school, but that's sort of what I prefer, is you have certain people in your party, that's their role, and you have to figure out when to use who. That's just what I prefer. So maybe I like 16-bit stuff better. I don't know. But that's the battle system. There, I said it. I hated it. On a happier note, I really love the visuals. This game looks great, especially on the Vita. Fantastic. They've cleaned it up a little bit. Yeah, it is a PlayStation 2 game, but it looks great, and it looked great on the PlayStation 2 as well. So no complaints as far as that. The only thing that I did not like was the dungeon design. I found them to just, I don't know. I thought they were boring, kind of, and like, I didn't care. Like, that's another aspect. I'm just glad I played on the easiest setting, is it was just like, I kind of want to get through this and, like, do something else while I'm going through the dungeon. That's kind of a terrible thing, because you should be loving the dungeon aspect and loving exploration. But I kind of just felt like, yeah, we're going into the TV, I'm going in a dungeon, coming out. As opposed to a lot of other JRPGs where the dungeon is, like, to get to the next destination. That's the other thing about this game, is you really just stay in one town. So if you want to spend 50 hours just in Inaba, then, I mean, there's a few, locations you go to this bigger city, but in general, the whole game, like 95% of the game, is in Inaba. So just a heads up, I really prefer the exploration on a world map and going to all these different places. You don't necessarily need a world map, but going to different towns and seeing different cultures and all these different things. I love that. I don't just like staying in the same town, because, yeah, it gets a little, it's kind of like, just going to the same place, going to school, reading books, like, frustrating, because I really love parts of this game, hate other parts, so it's tough. Yeah, so visually though, amazing, great, I love it. I love the art style. I love the modern day setting in like a small town in Japan. It's perfect, but yeah, the dungeon design is terrible, and I'm pretty sure that's a very like huge characteristic, these dungeons of Shin Megami Tensei games. And I haven't really played Shin Megami Tensei games, so yeah, I don't know. They were just really boring for me. The design was just not. It was just not. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't going like, whoa, I can't wait to explore this dungeon. It's a lot of just kind of mazy, really sort of almost like a first person. Like, it wasn't first person, but it got that vibe. So yeah, that was the only aspect visually that I was not really thrilled about. The music in this game is so good. I love listening to it on my free time. I love it. It's fantastic. It's this weird, I don't even know how to describe it, because like I'm a huge J-pop and K-pop fan, but it has kind of aspects of J-pop, but it's not, and it's in English, and it's like you can tell that the person singing is not fluent in English, and it's like a weird rock, pop, J-pop, fusion, English stuff. I don't know, just look it up. Go on YouTube and listen to the music. It's great. It's really funky. They have this great retro style, kind of disco-y at times. I love, love, love the soundtrack to this. The only problem is, yeah, it gets a little bit, after a while, you're just singing the same song you've heard for 40 hours. It's starting to get annoying, but then I find myself listening to it on my free time, so then what's that? Those are my thoughts on Persona 4, Persona 4 Golden, and to sum it up, love the story, love the characters. In fact, when this game ended, I was so sad because I thought, oh my god, I feel like I've really gotten to know these characters are real people. Like, they're real people. Like, I don't know, Nanako is real. These are real people. Chie, they're all real. Like, I don't know, Kanji, they're all real, and it was freaky, and out of all the games I've played, man, you connect so much with these characters, especially because you're kind of like silent protagonists, so you kind of whatever, you're whoever you want to be, you're you, and then you play this game, and you get so invested, and that is a huge aspect, because you can play other games where the characters mean nothing, but there's other parts of the game, like visuals or something, but or the overall story, but the characters themselves kind of suck. This, oh wow, like, it's just great. I love the characters, and I love the story. It was really fun. I couldn't wait to see what happened next. I was so excited to find out what was going on with these murders in Inaba. I was like, oh my god, how is this going on? And yes, I was happy with the ending, and I was thrilled with different things, and there are a few things that, can choose your ending for you, because you have to maybe say a few things, and if you don't say that, you'll get a different ending or whatever. So really, really, really love that. Didn't like the gameplay, though. I do not like it. Had it been a little different, had there not been, like, the fusing and all that stuff, maybe would have played it on a different difficulty setting, but I could not be bothered. I just really didn't care. I found a lot of the dungeons to be kind of boring. I would just kind of couldn't wait for them to be over and then get back to the story, because you'd kind of do this dungeon. Once the dungeon was over, you could go back to Inaba, go back to school, and get the story progressing again. So it's a kind of a weird concept with JRPG, because half the time you're in a dungeon, it's because you're going somewhere and the story is progressing. But this was kind of like, dungeon, I'm out, alright, let's continue. I mean, there's a few things that happen in dungeons, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, I didn't like them, I'm sorry. So yeah, there's that. And the music in this game is phenomenal, it's amazing. One of my favorite, actually, it'd probably be one of my favorite gaming soundtracks of all time, where it just sticks with you, and like, I have it on my iPod, I'm listening to it at work, like all the time. I really, truly love the soundtrack. I would like to own a physical copy, like, it's great, it's fantastic. But, yeah, like I said, sometimes you hear the same thing for 40 hours and you're like, I'm going insane. So yeah, there's that. Because you are in the same place. When you're in the same place for 450 hours, you're going to hear the same songs. However, there was a lot of great songs. The dungeon themes are great. Every dungeon had its own, music, and it was fantastic. So wow. And yeah, visually it's great. The buildings, the way it looks like when you walk down the street, and you're in the small town in Japan, and it's very accurate. Culturally, things are like, kids, different, holidays they get in school, and like, it was great. It was fun not playing a game that was set in North America, and actually modern day Japan. That was really cool. But the gameplay, I don't like it. I don't like the fusing thing at all. Like the fusing demons and the creating personas and all this, and I really didn't like it. I'm sorry I didn't. And I did feel like this game dragged. Like, there were points when it's like, those 10 hours were not necessary, or it should have been over 10 hours ago, or I'd find myself playing for a couple hours and you're like, that was unnecessary because I was just reading books and talking to friends. I could have been progressing the game, but you can't, because you have to wait till a certain day, because like I said, it's like a calendar system. Now, the days aren't like real-time days, or else this game would take forever. I'm trying to remember how long it actually would take me to get through a day, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes? I don't know. I don't remember. But it was enough that it was like, wow, 2-3 weeks in the game are going to be kind of nothing except just talking to people. And yes, you discover things about people, and it's very exciting. But that's not what I want, personally, in a JRPG. That's just, I like maybe the more grandiose, going on an adventure across the world or across a country or whatever. But yeah, so like I said, I hate a lot of things in this game. Love certain stuff, hate other things. So it's really hard for me to pinpoint and just be like, love the game, because there were so many things where it was like, eh. And then there were so many things where I thought, wow, they nailed it, they got it right. This is one of the best character development, or best characters in general in a game ever. These characters are fantastic. So it's like, it's really hard. I don't really know how to give it a rating. I don't really know how to do anything. I also played it on incredibly, easy setting, the easiest story, and I did that because I just didn't give a shit. And so there's, you can criticize me for that, whatever. Yeah. So this is a gameplay style as far as JRPGs go that I don't like. Sometimes I like it when they change it up, because I really liked Final Fantasy XIII's battle system. I know that's so controversial. But yeah, I really like that. Really like the old school battle system. So this was not like that. Yeah. Anyway, I implore you, please go check this game out. And I say that because there are things that I didn't like that I know other people just completely fell in love with. So this is just my take on it. There are some people who probably thought the music was the worst and the gameplay was the best. Or they weren't as involved in the story, but damn, they got into that fusing. So, I don't know. It's up to you. Please go check it out. It's considered one of the best JRPGs of all time. And I, as much as there are things that I didn't like, I totally understand why. I get it. I understand why people completely fall in love with this. I love a great sort of anime story, and that's kind of what this is. So if you like that, you'll like that. Side note, forgot to mention the voice acting. You can't play it in Japanese. That really pissed me off because I love playing JRPGs in Japanese if there's voice acting. I had to play it in English, but I have to say, voice acting in English was really good. So I don't really have any complaints. There's the odd thing that was kind of annoying, but in general, very solid voice acting. So don't worry about that because, God, there are some JRPGs where you need to play in Japanese or else it's terrible. So very good. Yeah, so think about what I said. Go watch other people's reviews, and there are people that just love the gameplay. Who knows? But yeah, those are my thoughts on Persona 4. Very interesting game. I loved so many things about it, but some things just not a Femtrooper thing. So I will leave you with those thoughts. Check it out. Buy it for the Vita, because honestly playing it portably was way better. Plus support the Vita. Please, I love the Vita. And damn, that Vita screen, Persona 4, it looks so good. So you gotta check it out. And playing portably is, like, for a game this long, is definitely necessary. So yeah, check it out. Cheap, and I'll see you later.